Hey, welcome back to my channel. So today I will be doing a review of the first half of the first season of Star Trek Prodigy. Second half of the season will start airing later this year. So we do have 10 episodes out now. And on the whole, I am enjoying the show. I think it is a good, well made show. Um, Not perfect by any means, but a lot of the biggest problems I think are really a matter of are not even really problems. Again, it's key to keep in mind that this show is aimed at children. As a result, there are going to be certain decisions that are made that in order to make the show work for that age group. Because kids shows and adult shows, they are different. They do have different goals in mind. So I do think it's there are some people who've been really critical of the show, and I think those people are being overly critical of it from an adult standpoint rather than looking at it as what it is, a kid show for kids. That said, as a show for kids, it's actually still really good. It is very high quality and it is still enjoyable for adults. Um, there's definitely a lot of Star Trek to it. Um, it's got that Star Trek spirit of both of both scientific and, more importantly, personal exploration. This show is definitely more focused on the personal exploration over the uh, the scientific side of it. Um, just because the crew are, just because the cast are sort of a bunch of misfits who are just trying to find freedom. So there is definitely a much bigger focus on the personal aspect, uh, which again has always been integral to Star Trek. So it's fine that the science side of it sort of takes a bit of a backseat. And though I'll admit, I do kind of miss just the thrill of discovery aspect of Star Trek in this series. I'm hoping that we get to see more of that as the show progresses, as the show continues. Uh, we do see some really neat science stuff going on. The episode with the time manipulation, time anomaly, that one was really good. I liked that episode. That was a really cool premise and handled really well in a really compelling way. Um, and that was sort of the episode that I think brought the cast together as a crew. Um, it gave them each, most of them anyway, uh, nice little bit of personal focus towards them working towards a greater goal. Uh, Rock obviously got the bulk of the development there, but yeah, they've all gotten some really good, or most of them again, have gotten really good character development. I like the way that Dal has gone from being self-centered and dishonest and arrogant and a bit of a con man to a certain extent. Uh, to being someone who really wants to do what's best for as many people as possible. His willingness to, he's sort of gone out of, become willing to go out of his way to help people, even people that, he doesn't personally know, that he's not friends with. Um, he's learned selflessness, which is good. Uh, Gwyn's character arc has been, yeah, fairly cool. I suppose she hasn't really gotten that much of a character arc. Uh, she, started off as somebody who wanted to be a good person, and she's stayed a good person. Uh, Rock going from, being young and uncertain and a little bit out of her depth to being sort of the engineering genius of the group. That's a really interesting direction to take her. Uh, I like that. Uh, Zero got one hell of a scene in the mid-season finale when she finally gets to confront the bad guy, the diviner. Uh, yeah, that was pretty intense moment there. One thing I will say about the diviner: once we discover his big plan, like his motivation's cool, cool and all. It's really intriguing. Like it's his background, his origin, and his motivation. It's very cool. Where it sort of falls apart is sort of the reveal of how he plans on carrying out his grand scheme. The problem I have with it is he spends the season trying to get back the protostar, get back the ship. He doesn't really need to for his scheme uh, to be implemented. Like it's just a weird thing where he's like so trying so hard to get it back, while he'd have just as much success if he just did nothing. It's sort of a weird thing there. Um, but oh well. One thing where I can see validity to the criticisms is the art style. I'm okay with it. I don't mind the animation style, but I can definitely understand why people would have problems with it. It is sort of an off style in some ways. Like there is something weird about the animation style. I find I can't quite put my finger on it. About what it is that seems so off about it, but I can certainly understand why there are people who just really do not like the animation style. Uh, but the characters are all really good. The story is good. There's some really interesting. There's been some really good episodes so far. Um, And I'm very interested in seeing where the second half of the season goes. I hope we get to see more Chakotay in the second season. He barely, like, we barely got to see any of them in the first half of the season. Um, like, there was one episode where we saw him for a few seconds, and that was about it. I really want to see more of him. I want to know what's happened to him and everything. Um, oh, on a side note, I really liked the in the Kobayashi Maru episode. I appreciated the cameos, even if most of the cameos were from characters are from dead actors. You know, Rene Auberjonois, James Doohan, and Leonard Nimoy, all deceased, and they got to appear as cameos, and they were good cameos. They were done well. Nichelle Nichols gets cameo there as well. They used archival audio of her, so they didn't. She didn't go into the recording booth or anything. Uh, and Gates McFadden also got to be in that episode. She seems to have actually been present. Looks like they didn't use archival audio for her. Uh, and of course, you got the obligatory Grey Griffin uh, presence there. She is because she's just in everything. You know, it's animation, it's voice acting. And she has to show up. Anything where there's that has voice acting, she's there. She's just in everything. Um, so all they're really missing here is oh, blanking on the name. Um, yeah, I think about the only other voice actors they really need there. Uh, Tara Strong hasn't appeared yet, and I don't think Nolan North has appeared yet. So they still got to include those two, because those guys, those two, they're in everything. But other than that, um, yeah, pretty. I've got some pretty cool guest characters. No snap! I don't think they've had. Yeah, we've still got Thadian Okona to look forward to in the second half of the season, I guess, because he didn't appear yet, and he's set to appear for some reason. Um, it's weird how much the current. I mean, you can tell how much the current generation of Star Trek creators absolutely love the franchise. Because I mean, uh, there was that reference in who was that character? Yeah, the lower decks referenced what was it? Roga. The hell was that guy's name? But yeah, a guy who appeared in one episode, fairly middling episode of Next Generation, and now we're still waiting on freaking Thadian Okona of all characters, Okona to be brought back. I don't know why. I don't get why they'd be bringing him back. Nobody liked him, but I guess because they can and because they love the franchise. So they've yeah. So I love how much the current generation of Star Trek creators uh, just adore the franchise. It's it's something that I just really appreciate as someone who grew up on Star Trek. That the people who are making Star Trek now also grew up on it and have immense love for it and want to uh, and just want to continue the franchise and want to you know show respect to it. I know there's the geek bros out there who hate the current generation of Star Trek because it's not Next Generation Deep Space Nine really because it's not what they grew up with. Um, because they're poisoned by nostalgia and aren't interested so much in the quality of shows as they are in going back to being young again. But really, as someone who is optimistic about the future, the way I am, uh, as hard as it is to be sometimes, I am optimistic about the future, which means that I really like seeing Star Trek as a franchise just sort of continue to grow into the future, to keep up with the times, to keep up with modern times, because it's not the '90s anymore. So yeah, I really like that. But I am that said, I am also looking forward to Strange New Worlds being sort of a throwback um, series to sort of a more classic Trek, at least from what I'm gathering about it. But yeah, it's still a good show. Star Trek Prodigy continues to be solid, and I am looking forward to the second half of the season whenever that's going to happen. I'm not sure if there's a release date on it yet. Yeah, yeah, no release date I don't think on the second half of the season yet. So uh, I'll look out for that. I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, I think we've got we got Star Trek Picard. We've got the second half of Discovery's current season. We've got Star Trek um, Strange New Worlds, and at some point we're going to get another season of Lower Decks as well. And I really like how each show is doing its own thing, how each show has its own purpose, not just in terms of the stories they're telling, but in terms of what types of stories and what who they're meant to appeal to. Yeah, you got the age appropriate, kid friendly Prodigy. You've got the sort of contemporary Discovery. You've got the throwback Strange New Worlds. You've got the adult comedy Lower Decks, and then Picard as sort of the more Picard as sort of a the nostalgia bait. I hate to say it, but it's kind of the nostalgia bait show. I like it, but it is meant to be nostalgia driven. Actually, while we're on the topic of Star Trek, uh, Out magazine just put out a special about the queer cast of Discovery. Um, with special covers for each of them. So Anthony Rapp, I'm blanking on pretty much all of them. Anthony Rapp, Wilson Cruz, Mary Wiseman, who I had no idea was queer. Blue Del Barrio, David Ajala, Tig Notaro, and uh, and the other one. Emily Coots. Um, she's Emily Coots is the one who plays Kayla Detmer, who is Kayla's all everyone already believes Kayla and Osikin are girlfriends, but yeah, I had no idea that she was queer either. That Emily Coots was queer either. Not that it's surprising at all. All that said, I do notice that Prodigy thus far uh, doesn't seem to have any queer content. That said, it's barely got any romantic content at all. There is, a little bit of romantic tension between Dal and Gwyn, but other than that, yeah. But anyway, uh, that said, I do kind of think, as a kids show, I do think that there does need to be, more queer content in kids shows. It's getting a little bit better. Star Trek itself is also only now getting better about it. Discovery has multiple queer characters. Lower Decks uh, has had Mariner. Mariner is pansexual, and looks like Picard season 2 will be exploring a little bit of Seven and Raffi's relationship, hopefully anyway. So Star Trek as a whole is getting better about you know allowing queer characters to exist. I hope that down the line, uh, like I said, I understand why it hasn't happened yet because there's no romance on at all, or there's only very 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 subtextual romance so far. Hell, Gwen doesn't even have a mom. It's like there's not even implied heterosexuality there. Uh, Funnily enough, but at some point, I kind of hope that there is an openly queer character on Prodigy, just so that again, just because it's a kid show, and I think that queer kids deserve to be deserve to felt seen and deserve to feel represented. Um, I suppose the show doesn't really have much in the way of visible racial diversity either. No, whatever. It's not even a complaint. It's it's just it's just a very 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 minor hope for down the line. But I mean yeah. So the show is really good though. Cast is really good. I really like the voice acting. All the voice actors do really good jobs. There's no bad performances, which is great. Yeah. All that said, uh, I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to more of it. But in the meantime, we got plenty more Star Trek to go. So as a lifelong Trekkie, I'm having a really good time these days. Frankly, yeah, it's a great time to be a Trekkie. I would say like this is maybe the best time. Like this is the best time to be a Trekkie, or at least it will be one. At least it will be once COVID's over and conventions get back to being something that's safe to go to, and then we can actually go to Star Trek conventions and other conventions and see Star Trek actors there. So yeah, once once conventions become a thing that people can safely go to again, it'll be the best time to be a Star Trek fan. But other than that, yeah, that's all I've got to say. So thanks for watching and have a nice night.